Hello everyone and welcome to Life After Graduation Student Edition. My name's Alex and today we're going to be talking about clubs and sports at university and its student engagement amongst industry and placements. Awesome. Today we've got Alex Tran from Swinburne University, who's a student there, and on top of his studies he runs a very big club at Swinburne. Welcome aboard, Alex.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. I'm so excited to be sharing my experience with you all. And I hope all the experience that I will be sharing will be helpful to you all.
Awesome, Alex. It's great to have you on board. So let's, to get our audience up and running about what we're going to be talking about, can you give us a brief introduction about yourself, what you study, your career aspirations, and what you do at your club?
Yep. So my name is Alex, and I'm in third year of civil engineering at Swinburne Engineering students at Swinburne University. I have a strong passion for design, construction, and maintenance of infrastructure. My ultimate goal is to become a chartered engineer who can create a better life for the community by solving existing problems.
Awesome, Alex. That's great. Like I've known you for a couple of years now, and I've seen the work that you've done at the university, the things that you've done at your clubs and society, which is the Swinburne Engineers Student Association. I'm presuming I got that right.
Society.
I've seen what yourself and the committee has done. So, can you give us a brief introduction about the role that you partake in at SESS?
Yep. So I'm an activity manager at Swinburne Engineering Student Society. For those of you who were not familiar with SES, we were established last year, and I started to volunteer for SES since the beginning of its formation. And we are one of the biggest clubs at Swinburne. Our vision is to become a member choice society. We also want to inspire others to what we do, our initiatives, quality events, inclusion, integrity, and professionalism. Our mission is to build two bridges. I'm going to be creative about this because we're engineers and we love innovation and creativity. So the very first bridge that we want to build is the connection between engineering students. The second bridge that we also want to build is the connection between students and the industry. So what we do, we partner with engineering companies and Engineer Australia to organize a range of technical and career development events, as well as industry networking with professionals to enhance your employability as an engineering student. My responsibility at SES is to lead, support, and provide guidance to help event team in event planning. I'm also responsible for connecting and maintaining positive relationship between event team and other committee members. Our members can get the values from the thing that we run for them. For example, anything that our speakers say about a particular topic, and I can see if our members they enjoying it. You can clearly see the engagement from them if they are enjoying. They enjoy learning it.
That's awesome. And I think I wanted to stick a question into this is about your industry night. Like I see the things that you guys do, and it's really inspirational for a lot of other clubs. If you can actually build such a community of 500 to 700 club members, you build it, and then you do these industry engagement nights when you get 20 or 25 other companies around Victoria to come along, or around Australia actually, to come along to an event at Swinburne, and then just to talk to students. I think that I could say, in my point of view, as a person outside of the club, is it's a really great thing that you guys have done. Can you talk a bit about those events that you guys do?
Yep. So I reckon we were one of the busiest club at Swinburne. In semester one alone, we we actually ran 4 industry webinars. We also organized 3 cyber social night with in collaboration with EdTech Club. We also ran one online competition involving COVID-19. And we also created 3 content slides and video content to share with our members during the lockdown period. So I was involved in supporting and organizing 3 industry webinars. For example, the graduate program webinar with Nova System, Cyber Social Night with ESSET, Engineer Australia Chartership, and also personal branding and LinkedIn webinar in semester one alone.
That's bloody awesome, mate. I like to use that abbreviation sometimes because I just see the stuff that you guys do, and it's uplifting to a lot of students, especially when you're trying to create a society to build an impact or a bridge to other students. And to do that, it's quite, how should I say it? Like, in my point of view, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort. And for a lot of people, because when you think about a university, you've got thousands and thousands of students at university, and you've only got this small number of students who are, I'm not saying the rest of the population are not doing anything. There's a lot of different things that are going on in individual students' perspectives. But to have that small student base that can impact this wider community is really uplifting. Again, I've said that, of course. Now, the question is connecting towards the motivation part. Like, what really motivates you to do all these things while you're studying? Because you've got other commitments. I'll mention this. You've done a placement for a whole year, and then if you're not doing placements, you're studying 4 units a semester, and then you're probably doing other things like work, part-time work, and all these things that's in your life. How do you get that motivation and that time management to continue doing what you're doing?
Yep. So what really motivates me to do all things is that I want to create a change to the community. So before the existence of our club, we didn't have any sort of engineering club at Swinburne who organize those things for our members and engineering students, they can get value from it. So having said that, we can see there is a lack of a community where we can bring all engineering students together to build the connection between them, as well as the connection between them and the industry. So that's why I want to create that change. I want to make that change. So I want to volunteer and use my knowledge and skill to give back to the community and the community that I want to serve. So that is what really motivates me to do all this. Coming back to time management, obviously I've been involved in many roles apart from CES. I'm a student ambassador at Engineer Australia, as well as a committee member of Risk Engineering Society, also at Engineer Australia. So how I manage my time is that I usually use my calendar to put out all my activities and the stuff that I do for the society that I volunteer for. And I prioritize my tasks, what I do for them. So this is how I manage my time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's really interesting that you talk about these things of how you manage time. And it's really, I think it does sound a lot of time consuming, but I think that in a personal perspective, I see the long-term benefits, and I really wanted to talk to our viewers about the long-term benefits of getting involved at university. I think one of the things that I really wanted to touch on with Alex and then having this conversation is that we might disagree or agree on this, but the development of your soft skills, which is important in what we call, I always talk to every speaker who comes on, I always do this, real world. And it's such a thing that we talk about at university, where you go to class and then your lectures are all about, in the real world, and then you're a student probably in your first, second or third year or fourth year, just talking about, what is this guy talking about? Real world. And you think about industry, right? You connect that to industry and you connect that, and when you go to work, and I think Alex has of course done his a placement at a big firm in Melbourne, and from my own personal perspective, going to the real world and working is the soft skills is really important to develop especially in the university time. I studied for 5 years at Swinburne. And through those 5 years, I got involved. I did a lot of things. It was not just about the study. Yeah, I did a double degree, but that doesn't stop me from actually getting involved. And I can see the same with Alex with his engineering degree, getting involved. Could you tell us a bit about those skills that you developed? Those, like, for example, those communication skills, those delegation skills. Are those the sorts of skills that you've developed, and how do you see the benefit for you in the next couple of years?
Yep. So by getting involved in the societies that I volunteer for, I have acquired and improved lots of skills, especially with my soft skills like communication, teamwork, event planning, and leadership. Um, Now I know what is required to organize an event because I've been organizing so many events for SEF. And I'm feeling more, comfortable in communicating with people, and I can really work well in different teams, with the people in different teams that I work with. And leadership, of course, I have attended one of the leadership training by a professional a professional leadership trainer. His name is Joshua, and he basically said that leadership is a service, and leadership is about adding values, providing add values to others. So being a community member of any society, you are already a leader because you contribute to add values to your members. So these skills will become great assets for me in my future career.
I can tell that because you're in a club that is really impactful to the community. What are the industry benefits that you've taken on and benefited from?
Yep. So I was one of the event coordinators of our biggest industry networking event. We sort of talked about this before. One of my tasks was to invite, the industry professionals from different engineering companies to come over and share, about their internship or graduate program to our members. But unfortunately, this year we were not able to run this event due to COVID-19. But I got to know the HR from most of their companies. I guess one of the benefits that I get from doing this is that when you apply for internship or graduate program, you already knew the HR of their company. So it's such a great opportunity to network with them and get advice on what their company is looking for from a candidate. And also through organizing many different industry webinars, I also got to network with our speakers, amazing speakers who are already, a professional or a chartered engineers. Not only that, I also got to know some people who are not even engineers. For example, one of the industry webinar that I organized was about personal branding and LinkedIn webinar. So I got to know a professional LinkedIn trainer. We invited her to share with our members the tips and tricks on how to, build a unique LinkedIn profile. So I got to know her. She's quite nice and approachable person. She did give us lots of advice and feedback on how to market yourself as an individual or a club and society. So I reckon the more you get involved in organizing events, the more you get to know people from the industry. So you will broaden your network.
That's awesome advice, Alex. I do agree with that broadening of your networks. It's funny when I think about this. When I was at uni, I didn't actually join any society that was really involved with industry. And for me, I kind of think back, it could have helped me a lot with my career. Especially for me, I'm just starting out, and just starting out is kind of like you're like first year at uni. But if you've already done that through the time that you're at uni, it's kind of like, oh, I'm in. I understand how it works. You're onboarding. I think in the episode with Jarrell where he talks about onboarding is so much more less time to onboard instead of the normal couple of weeks. It's only a couple of days now. For me, when I started, it was a longer period because I had no industry experience. I did a small internship, but nothing to do with what I do now. And when you think about it, the time that you can spend at uni to upskill and then develop those necessary soft skills is really important. I really like what Alex has given, a lot of really good advice to our viewers who are listening. Get involved with societies. Well, I've got another question, Alex. Since you've been involved with the industry and through, of course, your industry placement, and then, of course, your industry student ambassadorship with Engineers Australia, and, of course, through clubs and societies, has this given you a new perspective of your career? And what really have you learned from this overall experience?
Yes, they really did. What I perceive about engineering is that engineering in general is a pretty sustainable career because most of the thing that you see around you is engineering. With civil engineering specifically, is also a very sustainable career. As you can see, infrastructure in Melbourne or in Australia, like buildings, bridges, or roads, they will either need to be renovated or rebuilt. I recently did my professional placement at Metro Trains Melbourne in network operation. So my role was to identify key pain points to performance, which is the on-time arrival of the train service. Then we analyze the root cause that contribute to the delay of the service to in turn drive performance initiatives to solve those problems. So this opportunity really gave me a new perspective on the rail industry. Now I am in operating the network, and I was very fortunate to be mentored by the people that I have worked with in the business. They gave me lots of great feedback and advice on future career in rail, which is very sustainable, at least like for a few decades. There are so many things in rail industry that need to be implemented and improved further. Yeah, and I'm so grateful for the learning and the support from the people that I have worked with, and I know that on every step of my way. Yeah.
Awesome, Alex. I think you cut off midway before. I thought Alex is cut off already, but you're back on. Really great advice, Alex. Really like the way that you've summed things up about you, of course, your career, the way that you can go forward. And I think for our viewers listening, it's going to really, if you can, everyone's in a way that we think about it, everyone's got a different story, a different perspective. But if we can take a few minutes to think about where we want to create a journey from, I think clubs and societies is a really good starter. And this is my last question, Alex. And I think it's a good question. I hope so. What advice would you give to our listeners and to students and graduates going out there listening about no matter if they're first or second or third year, what should they do in that period of time? What's some advice that you would like to give?
Yes. Start volunteering. Use your knowledge and skill to give back to the community that you want to serve. While you're at uni, try to make the most out of it, because as a student, what you need to do is to experience and learn from it. And don't think twice sometimes. Don't ever miss any opportunity that come along your way. There's no such thing as bad experience. Every learning that you acquire along the way becomes an asset, and you build up your toolbox as you move from one step to another. And the more tools you've got, the more capable you become. So self-belief is one of the important factors that contribute to your success.
Some good advice there, Alex. Like the way you summed it up. Well, thanks for coming on, Alex. We do hope that you can come on to another episode to talk about your industry engagement and your industry placement, because it's really interesting you've given us a briefer, really hyped me up to the next episode that we'd speak to you about your industry placement. So I'd like to thank you again on behalf of Life After Graduation. Thanks for coming on and sharing your story.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Alex. I'm really honored to be here.
No worries. I think your cousin was on the side before. Someone just
I said I'm
just
really
walked
honored to
across
be
and
here.
I thought, is that another Alex? And I thought it must be your cousin. Awesome. Thanks again, Alex.
No worries, Alex.